Welcome to the Harjit and Prayer Show with your host, Harjit and Prayer.
What's up?
Hey, Prayer.
How you
What's
doing, man?
good? Good. You?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah.
Enjoying the. I'm loving the Florida weather.
Hey, we got
Nice and.
Florida weather here now in Vermont, so it's nice. T-shirt weather. You
That's
know,
cool.
sometimes
It's
in the
been
morning.
uh, it's been raining a lot, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So the other day it was a torrential downpour according to my standards. And I'm looking at the out the window at the office, and I was like, "Wow, that's coming down really hard."
Oh wow.
And the folks are like, "Oh, that's just a sprinkle. What are you talking about?" I'm like, Are you nuts? Look at the river running through the parking lot right now." And they said the parking lot from that window is about maybe 150 feet away. And they're like, when you can't see the parking lot anymore, then that's a downpour. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I haven't seen that yet.
See, that's
Um,
like how it was in Malaysia too. Because when it poured, and you know, it would start flooding the streets and things like that, and then they'll be gone, right? But the normal rain is like, yeah, okay, that's rain.
yeah, it's fun, and it's not a
Yeah.
thunderstorm. It's
Yeah.
just rain. So it's, the girls and I will play around outside when I'm home.
Yeah.
They like to run around and all that stuff. So it's kind of neat. But yeah, it's like the Florida is definitely built to handle water,
But you know
at
what
least
happens though,
Gainesville.
right? In
So
these downpours,
mhm.
snakes come out.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
My daughter and my wife saw one in the yard the other day, and I ran.
No.
Yeah,
What
it
kind?
was it was a black racer, which is not
Oh,
poisonous,
right, right.
and they're scared of people.
They eat
And I was like,
mice and
nope,
stuff like that. Yeah.
yep, I'm done. Nope, 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 nope. And my coworker's like, oh man, I pick those up all the time and throw them away.
No.
I'm like, don't they bite you? Like, yeah, it just hurts for a second. Which I'm like, that's crazy. What are you doing?
And
Anyway,
they're
so
big, right?
the black racers, I don't care and I don't want to know.
Oh
So
my God. That was in your yard.
that was in our yard. Yeah,
Yeah. So we get like the gutter snakes, the green ones,
yeah,
and well, you had them in New York too, I think.
yes, we did.
And I can't stand those either. So,
Yeah, I just hate
yeah.
snakes.
Yeah.
But
So that's good.
anyway,
So
yeah.
what else? What's new in the tech world, man?
I don't know about new, but I've been sitting in some AWS classes at work, and so
Okay.
just been learning different concepts and how to do this and how to do that, and we're going to be getting training from all of the major three cloud players at the moment.
Oh, that's neat.
And one thing I heard about today was something called the AWS Snowball. Have you ever heard of that?
Snowball?
Yeah.
No.
So there's two variants. There's the snowball and then there's the snowball edge. The snowball, basically, if you have a huge amount of data and you need to get it into Amazon, into AWS, you can order a snowball, you plug it into your network, you copy all the stuff, and you send it back to Amazon, and within a certain period of time, it shows up in your buckets up there.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, it's very secure and well baked. The Snowball Edge is the same thing, except it has compute built into it. So if you have Lambda functions, which is the serverless technology term in Amazon world, so
Okay.
Lambda is basically like little programs that you can run instead of having to spin up an entire server to do whatever. You might be able to write and use Lambda to do the same thing, which is
Okay.
beautiful because then you don't have to worry about the server OS and infrastructure and stuff like that, and it can scale really fast and that kind of stuff. So with the Snowball Edge, you can actually run Lambda functions disconnected on
Okay.
this thing. And so they were saying like, yeah, like scientists will take this out to some location that has no internet, and they're gathering data and putting it into their Snowball Edge, and it's running the analysis and whatever it's doing in
Wow.
that thing.
That's
And then
exciting.
they plug it in, it goes, or they send it. I'm sorry, they send it back to Amazon when they're out of the field, and then it shows up in AWS, which is like, that is freaking cool.
That is
Like,
cool.
if you don't have the ability and you to do high level computing, but you're able to have this device with 100 terabytes of
Offline.
storage, 100
Yeah.
terabytes of storage,
Wow.
and have it do its thing. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Disconnected from any kind of network, that's like another level for me. So I just learned about that today.
Oh yeah, I'm hearing about it now. Yeah. And
Yep.
do they get Prime shipping?
I'm sure they do. Oh, get this. There's this other thing, I think it's called the Snowmobile, where if you have a lot of data, like in the petabytes, you order the Snowmobile, and it's this freaking semi-truck that will pull up next to your generator. It has its own networking. Their team plugs everything in. It has a built-in generator, and over the couple days while things are uploading, it does its thing, and then when everything is done, it drives to wherever the data centers are, which we don't know where they are. We're not supposed to know. And you can also have your own security detail on the semi if it's that kind of data.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm sure the other players have stuff like that. I just have never heard of it. Yeah, so it's this unmarked truck, because if it says Amazon Snowmobile, everybody like, oh, I know what's in there.
Right.
Lots of hard drives.
So it's unmarked.
So it's unmarked. Yeah, I hope. Wow. Anyway, the picture I saw was unmarked. So it's so learning all these little neat things. Obviously, I learned a lot more than that, but that's the two things I was like, oh, that's really neat. I wonder if anybody else knows about that. That's pretty kind of cool.
Yeah, it'll be neat to see if we get some comments about this.
Mm-hmm. And so if you're using that I would love to hear what are you doing with it, because that's the world I'm in now. Is like, okay, I'm learning all this stuff in AWS. How can I use that to make the world better?
Well, it's pretty cool. So, I mean, if you can use the stuff offline, like even researchers that go off on boats and things like that to do marine type of, data collections, and they don't have any connection, right? I mean,
it's crazy.
Come back on shore and then ship it back, and things are changing with our technology these days,
Yep. And that thing has 100 petabytes. No, I'm sorry, 100 terabytes. Which is that's a lot. And they've done catastrophic testing on it, so they let off. I don't know if it was a bomb or what, but an explosion went off nearby, adjacent to it, and it was fine. The data was intact.
Oh my goodness! My goodness!
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. And speaking of Prime, you realize Prime membership is going up?
Is it really?
Yeah, I think it's like $20 or $30 per year, something like that.
So it started at $80. I forgot what I paid last year.
I think it was like $99.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then now it's like $129 or something like that. It's just above the
I think it's worth it. It's
worth
what,
it.
13?
Yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah, less than $13 a month, right? Yeah, if it's that amount. Right. And Whole Foods opened up in Gainesville.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks ago. So if you're a Prime member, you get access to exclusive sales and stuff like that. And you
get discounts, right?
And you get a 10% discount on top of any sale at checkout if you have the app.
Yeah.
And this other thing that Amazon is testing in some cities is that you can order your groceries off of Whole Foods, and you get it delivered the same day within hours. So not available in Gainesville yet, but.
Oh wow! Do you guys have the Amazon Go store there, or is that just in Seattle?
I have not seen it here. I thought there was one in New York City though, but I never got to go to it.
Okay. Well, I went to the one in Seattle. It's tiny, it's small. I thought it was this big. But it's convenient. For people that just want to on the go real quick, and it's really cashless. I mean, you just use pop up your app before you walk through the gates, and then you just start picking up. I don't know how it does it, whether it's sensors or cameras and things like that. Like it knows you're the one who's picking up this sandwich or this drink and things like that.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in the last show.
We did, right?
Yeah.
And then you just walk out and boom, yeah. So I think that's coming to a lot of places. Yeah. So what else we got? You were going to talk about a tool.
Yeah. Have you heard of Fiddler?
Yes.
All right. That is a cool tool.
Yeah.
So it is I would say it's similar to Wireshark, but it is very HTTPS specific. So
Okay.
it's geared for that. So you can probably do the same kind of things with Wireshark, but Fiddler I feel is a little more
Is it easier to
user friendly.
use?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so there's a great blog write-up about how to use Fiddler to capture and then decrypt traffic,
Okay.
because you can load certificates into Fiddler and be able to decrypt what is going on. Obviously, you need to have access to this certificate legally,
Right.
but some of the things I've used it for is if we have this web application running, and if you're sending data to it, or people are sending data to it, and they're not getting anything back, I'll get the data that they're sending loaded into Fiddler with the certificate, and then post it to that web app, and then see what the web app is sending
Okay.
back. And that's helped troubleshoot some things that have gone on and stuff like that. So it's a pretty amazing tool. You can learn it really, really quickly, like if you spend a day just messing around with it. But I mean, that's a good thing to have
Oh, that's good.
in your
Yeah.
tool set. Yeah. So I still use Wireshark a lot, quite a
Yeah.
bit. But if it's web specific, then I'm going to be leaning towards the Fiddler side,
Okay.
just because it's so much easier to use and you get a lot more intelligence
Okay.
behind it. So
Well, that's good
yeah.
to know the difference between the two. They pretty much
Yeah.
are about the same, but one's does more of the web stuff and it's easier. And
Yeah, Wireshark
Yeah.
is like everything. That's like, here's your data. Here you go.
okay.
If you want some more analysis done, if you want it, will lay out things in a more logical way for web traffic.
Right.
You know, it'll retrieve error codes and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So-
good. That's good. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know Wireshark, you have to try to create some filters and things like that, and to capture specifically what you're looking for. Sometimes, otherwise, there's so much data, right?
Yep.
Running through. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, any other cool tools?
That's it for me, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I was at MMS just recently, and one of the things I discovered is that the CM Trace tool, right,
Mhm.
is now built into the tech preview version that they released at MMS 1805.
Yep.
And actually, I was there in the audience when they pulled someone from the audience and said, "Okay, here, press a button," and it went live and stuff like that. So,
Cool.
yeah. So apparently now it's going to be part of like the client install for Config Manager, and each machine will probably get the CM Trace tool and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Why did it take so many years
I know.
to? Oh my God!
Yeah.
It's like,
I know.
oh,
I have the
unbelievable.
tool right now on a share, that I can access to, if I'm on a different system that's not mine. That I'm like,
Sure.
well, I like that thing. It shows the logs really, nicely and stuff, right? Rather
Absolutely.
than Notepad or yeah. And I think there's some changes coming up with Notepad too. Apparently, it's did you read up about that?
Notepad, dude. I never use Notepad. I use Notepad++.
That's what I use. But
Okay.
apparently, the new version of Notepad, which I guess Notepad didn't have any development in ages,
Okay.
but now apparently you can do some Unix coding and stuff like that in it. Or
Oh yes, it's gonna support the Unix line feed character or carriage return or something like that,
Yeah.
so that when you load up those files, they're properly. You see them the way you would see them in a Unix editor, a Linux editor.
Linux
So-
editor. Okay.
Mhm.
Hey, another question. Do you have a test lab of your own?
Yeah.
What do you?
My own,
Yeah.
like at home.
Yeah.
I wish.
On a
No.
laptop or something like that. What do you
No.
use? Or what about at work then?
At work, we have test environments.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I have that at work too, but on for personal level to do my own testing and things like that, I have this 32 gig RAM HP laptop and stuff like that, and I was using VMware Workstation
Okay.
for the because I was used to that for ages and stuff. I'm like, oh, I already have it, and now I'm like switching that over to Hyper-V because that seems to be the preferred choice by many, and whatever, and it's and gives me an ability to learn some new stuff too.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the problem with it, if you're using one, you can't use the other, right?
Exactly. I
Yeah.
liked VMware Workstation a lot because, um, number one, it let me run Mac OS
Oh,
virtualized.
right.
It had way more support for the versions of Linuxes out there and appliances as well.
Okay.
But for all Windows, if you're only ever doing Windows stuff, then the Hyper-V built in is absolutely fine. Like
Yeah.
it works really, really well.
The only issue about VMware Workstation is that your renewal comes up and it'll say, "Hey, there's a new version. Do you
Sure.
want to upgrade?" And then it makes you upgrade for another whatever $100 or something like that,
Yep.
right?
So we actually I recently attended a VMware users group local in Gainesville,
Okay.
and one of the members discussed his home lab, and it was an excellent presentation because his budget was $500,
Oh,
and what could you build with that? And so it was amazing actually to see what he was able to do. So basically, he bought 2 old HP servers off of eBay,
okay.
with I think 32 or maybe 64 gig of RAM each, local storage, which he added more. He bought some gigabit switches, and then he bought some the DL380 G320 G6 SEs for storage, for shared storage. And because these things are so cheap, and because he was able to there's a bunch of hard drives here that somebody's thrown away or blah, 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 blah. He was able to get away with putting this thing together for $500, and it's running vSphere 6.7.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he won't be able to do 6.8 because the processor won't support it.
Okay.
And one thing I didn't know about is if you're in a VMware users group, you can get something. Oh shit, I think it's called VMUG Advantage, where you pay $200 for the year, and it basically gives you the entire suite of VMware for free for personal use. So using in your personal lab.
Oh, really?
And so that's what he was doing, and there actually VMware was there. They gave away a subscription to one of the members out of just like randomly.
Right.
And
Prices,
stuff like that.
yeah.
So he built this really cool setup for $500.
That's incredible.
And so I'll have to find the link, and maybe we'll link it there. But
Okay.
it's not like he's like, this is for testing. It's like, I'm not running a company off of this. So like, as something new comes out, I'm able to test it.
Yeah, he wants to learn. He wants to.
Exactly. And of course, we have a lab at work.
Yeah.
But there's there's many people in it, and so they're different. You don't know what they're doing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and so it's just like 12 machines. It runs fine with the hardware that he has. And so I just went on to eBay and I looked for that model, and sure enough, there is lots out there.
Really?
And I think the price is actually inflated because so many people buy these things
Okay.
for their home labs. In contrast, somebody there said, "Hey, my home lab, it's actually this Intel NUC with upgraded memory and storage and stuff like that. It's an i7, da 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 da."
Those work too. Yeah.
But then, the question, well, how much did you pay for that? It was like $800.
Right.
So, $800 for one machine, right? It is tiny.
Right.
Or this actual rack setup that's using it's using very, very little electricity because it's not a production workload. And it also doesn't require much cooling because, again, it's not a production workload. He just has a fan in the room in his office, and he doesn't hear it. He's like, it just blends into the background noise of other things that are going on.
Cool.
So I'm curious.
I guess if you have a dedicated space and stuff like that, then that setup works. But if you're someone like, who likes to be mobile and whatever, then that's not your thing, right?
Sure.
If you want to.
Absolutely. So. He wanted to be able to do as much as he could similar to a data center setup.
Okay.
Without being a data center and having data center bills. And so I couldn't believe he got away with that for less than $500. That blew my mind.
Yeah, that is pretty cheap. Yeah. Wow. And yeah, so while I was in Minneapolis at the Mall of America, there's a Microsoft store there. So I stopped in, sort of checking out all the, Surface books and things like that. I was very surprised that, I think they only had one model that had like 16 gigs of RAM or something
It's
like that.
expensive, sure.
Yeah, there was nothing more than that. And I think if anything else, it was like one of the, it's either a Dell or something like that. It wasn't um, a Microsoft product. But yeah, and those are expensive.
I think I love the Microsoft Surface stuff.
Mhm.
Like, if I could afford it, I would absolutely buy one. However, with that same amount of money, you can get a much better equipped Lenovo or HP, and I hate to say it, Dell. I can't stand Dell. Um, but it seems like the Microsoft hardware is like, we're showing to the rest of the world what it could be. And then when other manufacturers see that, they come up with their response
Yeah,
and their take on it and stuff like that. So I think the Microsoft stuff is awesome, but it's so expensive.
yeah,
I've done comparisons, and it's like, yeah, why would I buy that when I can get much more for the same amount of money in this other thing?
right.
So
Did you check out? Did you see the videos on the new Surface Hub?
that thing is amazing.
Yeah.
Now that I've never seen anything like it.
That's
That's pretty amazing.
Oh my God. I don't know what that thing costs, but I don't think it's cheap,
Nope.
you know.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. Yeah, people should check it out if you get a chance. Just look up for Surface Hub 2,
Oh, yeah.
right, I think. Yeah.
Surface Hub 2 coming out in 2019.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty sweet. I'm sure we'll see that kind of stuff at conferences coming up and whatever. So
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And some big companies
sure.
somewhere will have it in your boardroom or
Yep.
meeting room, and yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, so anything interesting for food and drinks and
Food and drinks. Nope. There are things falling out of my trees though
it
and making noises.
could be a rat's what a racer.
No, it's like these little nuts
Aha.
or something, and they just like hit. Yeah. Anyway, I haven't had anything really exciting food-wise, but I do have to say, I've stopped going out to lunch a lot.
Oh.
Like not at all, because I've been getting these, like, I don't know what they're called, where like you put them in the microwave and heat them up.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the prepared meals.
Yeah, and so I've been getting the Indian stuff at Trader Joe's. And
Oh,
oh my gosh, dude, it is amazing.
are those frozen or not frozen?
They are frozen,
Okay.
but
Okay.
it's Trader Joe's, so it's,
That's cheap,
fairly
like $2,
sourced.
right? Something like that.
Yeah, and so I really like all the vegetarian stuff. They
Yeah.
have butter chicken, which is excellent. Chicken tikka masala, which is amazing.
Yep.
But what I've been getting is the vegetable biryani, which I've gotten so much I'm sick of it. So I'm getting the chana masala, which is chickpeas.
Yep.
The spinach paneer. There's also paneer tikka masala, and then a vegan tikka masala, which it almost tastes like a pot roasty kind of thing. So it's a meat substitute, which is
So
amazing.
this is what I'm gonna do. Tomorrow I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's because we got one. I'm gonna go pick up some and stick it in the freezer.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
really
got a
good.
small fridge
And
at work.
a week's worth. So for 5 meals, it was well, I bought also a thing of peanut butter cups because we love them, and so
Yeah.
with that it was like $17.
Oh, that's
So
not bad.
I'm like, all right. So instead of spending $5 out at whatever every day,
Yeah.
it's just like these really healthy meals.
Well, so I
So-
love Vietnamese food, and I have to get my fix, at least once a week or something. But that alone, it's about $10 without a tip.
Whoa.
Right. So you don't do that often, but it gets really expensive, and that's just one
Okay.
lunch. It's like 9 something plus tax or whatever, and then tip on top of that. You're like, shit, it's like 11 something. you know?
It gets expensive, and if
It
you do
does.
that, like even like I love Chipotle and their rice bowls. but that's $8
Yeah.
every
We
day.
have the
So
food trucks and at my work, especially when there are a lot of students, the
okay.
Chinese and the whatever.
Oh wow.
And the Chinese one is the cheaper one, and that itself is $6, right? And
Yikes.
and then
That's
you
crazy.
go to like the kebab guy, and he's selling it for like 8 something.
No way. For
Yes.
kebabs?
Yes, for the souvlaki's and then we got this sometimes you get this frou kind of trucks that they the fancy dancy names and all that stuff. And you're like, what? Oh, and they're like about again $9, $10 sometimes, and people are buying them. I mean, like, especially like students, like money is just
That is insane.
nothing.
So this whole food truck thing, I blame hipsters for the inflation in prices, because I used to be, when I went to user group meetings in New York City, I'd go to this food truck vendor, grab a gyro, and it was amazing. And it'd be like $4 for this humongous gyro that I couldn't even finish, right?
Right.
And I was noticing, like, the last time I went to one, it was like $8 in New York City, which I'm like, what? I'm like, I know, like, a year or two ago, I wasn't paying this much. What's up with that? It's because the hipsters have ruined everything for us. What used to be cheap is now cool, and so everybody's hopped onto that.
Right.
You know?
Well, so I like your idea of what you do, because I do the same thing. I go to the grocery store and I buy the unfrozen prepared stuff that you can just microwave real quick. The beef stew or the fried rice or whatever.
Yep.
And so once in a while, usually just poke some holes, stick it in for a minute, boom, you're done, and yeah. So, but I think I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's tomorrow.
If you get the chicken stuff, it definitely needs some salt.
Okay.
But other than that, it's like a little bit of salt, not a lot.
Okay.
But like the butter chicken, for some reason, is like I wonder why. I don't. Maybe because of health reasons for people, they don't want to take a chance. Maybe they allow people to season it. But like the spice is there, a little bit, not overwhelming at all. But it's like, okay, this tastes good, So
Okay.
I like it. Yep. I have a challenge for you though.
What?
So there is this amazing documentary, and I'm going to mess up the title. It's called "The Problem with Appu."
Okay.
And it really was convicting to me, not because of how I've used the Indian accent to be funny and kind of like poke hole.
Yeah, which I do too.
Yeah, and ever since I watched the documentary, I have stopped completely. And I have to apologize to anybody that
seriously.
Absolutely, just watch it, and we'll talk about it next time. The Problem with Appu.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And I was like, holy cow, this is the thing.
Yeah.
So, and the one thing I wish I had done before I watched it is like, all right, what do I think as an Indian person? What is my perception of Indian people in America? Okay. And also in India, and then watch it. So like write down some thoughts and then watch it.
That's
let's talk about it on the show next week.
Well, recently, a couple of months ago, I went off on someone on Facebook, someone I know, because Amazon, right, the Alexa, so they came up with a voice for India, and I took it the wrong way because this person was trying to make Alexa talk in an Indian accent, English in an Indian accent. And I was like, why are you doing that and stuff like that? Whatever. But actually, it kind of makes sense, because when you are using that product, if the people there are using that product, you don't want them to, they're not used to,
they don't understand it. They don't understand the English
accent. Have to have that accent, the dialect.
Right.
I'm like, I get it now, Same thing like in Malaysia. Malaysia has the English accent is very different. They use the own little twists and stuff. If you speak like how we speak, they don't understand. They're like, what?
I don't understand the English accent down here. There's been so many times I've had to I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying. Can you slow down for me? And I'm not trying to be offensive or anything. I'm like, I literally don't know. And my coworker I feel bad. I'm like, dude, I don't. Can you slow down because I don't know what you're saying right now.
Right,
And
right.
we get a laugh out of it, but I'm not trying to be funny or
Yeah.
anything. And then he'll do the same to me. Is like, dude, you're talking way too fast. Like, what did you just say? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, that's too funny.
So I'm
So
gonna
yeah,
drop this out
it's
because
wild.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. I was like, oh man, that's intense.
Okay.
So
That's
anyway,
good. Good info. I think
yeah,
this has been a good show, man. And let's catch up again, and we should call it quits. What do you think?
cool.
All right. So until next time, I'm Harjit. You'll find me on Twitter as at Hoorge, Hoorge.
Hey, and I'm Prayer, and my Twitter handle is the IT Jedi.
Woohoo! All
Yep.
right. Cheers.
Later.
Fork, fork, fork.